I'm Lynn.
I'm Amanda.
And this is The Pursuit of Badassery, the podcast. We're cutting through the fluff and cracking open what it really takes to build a business and life that you actually want.
No gurus, no gatekeeping, just real talk, big action, and the badass energy you need to scale and slay.
Some episodes, it's just us.
And sometimes we bring on powerful guests with stories that'll hit home.
Either way, this is not about playing small.
It's about going all in.
Let's get after it. All right. Welcome back to The Pursuit of Badassery, the podcast. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda, and we are so excited to have you here. It's been a while since we've had incredible guests on our podcast, and we are so excited. One of the first ones back is Melissa Willis.
That's right. I've known Melissa for years. I'm super stoked and wait to have us pop off this new interview series, we'll say. But Melissa has lived and worked around the world. She has had, just like us, a ton of different random professions, including modeling in Japan for a little bit as well, managing restaurants, working as a talent scout. And she finally landed her seat or her bottom into coaching and consulting. And it really feels like her purpose. Over the last 10 years, she has coached and taught hundreds of business owners and really help them overcome challenges. A lot of times they need help with support, accountability, putting systems into place, and really they need to vent. And they need somebody who's going to either hold their hand or kind of like us, kick them in the butt and tell them to get going and point them in the right direction. So welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here with you guys.
We're excited too.
Good to have you.
Thank
we
you.
Go way back. We go way back, Melissa.
Way back. How far back? It's 2025. At least 10 years, maybe 12.
Yeah. I can't remember when we both owned a franchise we shall not name because I then became COO and then we both left because, well, we didn't agree with the way it was being ran.
Yeah, things happen.
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
Happen. But It's really cool, like to be able to watch each other grow and blossom over those 12 years. And especially in this world, because we both kind of were already in this world, but not as a profession, from what I understand for you as well. Same with me. I was in the consulting coaching world, but not really as a profession until I got into that company. So
yes, same. Yeah, but glad to be on my own,
Absolutely.
which is kind of nice. I think we all have this in common. We don't like being told what to do or.
No, I do not.
Yeah.
Funny how that works out.
Absolutely. I know you love to help people with the financial side to become more profitable, to show them ways to cut expenses and grow that profitability line. And I know that sings to Amanda's ears, especially. I mean, both of ours, but you definitely touch Amanda's heartstrings there.
I do. Yeah, you do.
The numbers were not always such a great love for me. I come from more mission, vision, target market, all those things I still work with, and all those things are still important. But if you don't know your numbers as a business owner, you are in trouble. I have a fairly new client. I asked for the numbers 3 times, and finally I got a confession. I don't really know what they are. And so then we had to start working with the CPA and started figuring it out. And they had it, but they didn't understand it and they didn't know it. And so we're going to start working through all of that, because you can't say, oh, I want to be a $2 million company next year if you don't even know where you're starting from.
Facts. What do you feel made that switch? Because you did come from more of the people aspect. What do you think was like that defining moment?
I think it helps people to be able to look at a P&L, a profit and loss statement, to be able to look at hard numbers, and there's no emotion tied to it. The numbers are the numbers. So we can stay where we are. We can put together a plan to grow. Heaven forbid we would backslide, but the numbers are the facts. There's no emotion tied to the numbers. The numbers are what they are. And it's the actions that have been taken up to the point of looking at the numbers that have gotten us here today. So if we're going to change that path, we have to change those actions. So there is the people portion still, but the numbers, we can quantify the growth, which is something I had not previously. We looked at it, but we didn't look at it and pick it apart the way that I pick it apart now. I'm still not a lover of spreadsheets, but I do like the numbers.
I love that you talk about the emotion behind,
I knew you were going to talk about that.
I love it. I love that you talk about the lack of emotion, because I always say, like, I live in logic land. Everybody else is in emotion ocean. And that's one of the reasons why I love numbers too, is that you can't lie. You can't like pretend or qualify like, oh, well, this is this because of this. Like, no, these are just the numbers. Like, we're not going to talk about the backstory of every single line on your P&L and your balance sheet. Let's look at what's really working and what's not. And it's really, no matter what you can say, like whatever justification you have around why the numbers are the way they are, it doesn't change the fact that those are the numbers. And so you can kind of take out the why and then just move forward. Like, how do we go from here? Like, where do we go from here? How do we improve this? What is that going to look like? And I mean, of course, there is some why, to the extent of like, why did you spend $10,000 more on, office supplies this month versus last month? Like, there's some why, but again, it's not the emotional side. It's just like, how can we make it better for next year? And really being able to break it down is so important from a business perspective. And it blows my mind that people are so afraid to look at their P&Ls or have never even seen a P&L. I'm like, I don't know how not to look at them. Like, I will just creepily stare at them and be like, and just, I love looking. I mean, I don't love a spreadsheet, but I don't mind keeping a spreadsheet open in my tabs and just looking at it every day and be like, how can I improve this number here? And it helps if you have it in front of mind, because as you said, if your goal is $2 million, how do you know how hard or not hard you have to work? Like, maybe you're already like only $1,000 away, or maybe you're $1 million away. If you don't know, you're never going to grow.
Oh, that's a good one. If you don't know, you're never going to grow. Love it. All right. I might have to steal that.
Write it down. Keep it.
Write it down. Give us credit.
Keep it.
If you don't know, I'm writing it down right now.
You'll get my bill in the mail.
Okay, excellent. Yes. So you have to look at it. You have to look at it, and you have to just understand that until we start looking at it and picking things apart, and good Lord, if someone's spending $10,000 on office supplies, they better be the greatest office supplies ever in the history of office supplies.
Or they're like in a huge company. And that's like the yearly expenses of office supplies.
Right. Yeah. Because I'm focusing on the small businesses, and I'm thinking like, wow, 10 grand on office supplies. What does that even look like? So,
but I think it's also, it's not just things like that though. It's when you ask the business owner, okay, what do you need to make? Like, what's your nut? What do you need to make every month to cover your expenses? And they have no idea. Like, what do you want to make every month in order to cover your personal expenses? And they don't know. And you're like that's a thing I struggle with, because I don't even know how to advise from that standpoint of, head in the sand. They don't even know their basic numbers. And I think there's this, I don't know what it is about numbers that scare a lot of people. Maybe Lynn, you can tune in on this. Like, well, I don't know, because Lynn is not as numbers as I am. However, it's a willful ignorance sometimes, because I feel like a lot of business owners would rather have head in the sand and just say like, oh, I'm not a numbers person.
Yep.
And use that as an excuse. Like people saying like, well, I'm not really a technology person, using that as an excuse why you don't only have an email. It's like you can only use that excuse for so long, but ultimately you're doing yourself a disservice by not learning the very, very basics. The very basics. We're not asking you to understand QuickBooks and tax laws. We're asking you just to like, what's your number? What's the number?
Right. What's the number? And is it just, we made payroll? I mean, it's got to be more than that. It has to be more than that.
How do you get people around that, Melissa? Because I mean, money is the number one reason why people get divorced. It causes disruptions in partnerships outside of marriage. Like, finances are one of the most difficult conversations to have for most. And so how do you help navigate people through that? Because I'm sure you're getting clients who, that one took 3 times. You told that story. It took 3 times of you asking to get their P&L or get their numbers, even if you didn't call it a P&L. So How do you navigate them through this?
You have to take the business and look at the whole thing. You have to look at the numbers. You also have to look at the people. You have to look at everything. You have to look at the marketing. You have to look at the website. You have to look at the whole kit and caboodle before you can get a really good idea of, okay, what do we need to attack first? And how can we have a big win right away? And the money conversation is definitely met with resistance sometimes, not all the time. And it's just a matter of, I'm here to coach you and I'm here to challenge you. And I'm going to challenge you to really look at these numbers and get familiar with them. And eventually you will find it's not as scary as what you might think it is. And if you don't want to look at the numbers, we may not be the best fit in terms of a coaching and consulting relationship. We have to know. I would say it's like, I'm going to hire an attorney, but I'm not going to tell them everything. Well, you have to say, you've got to, like, I mean,
I tell people to do that. That's what's
what?
wild.
Plausible deniability. It's fine.
Yes. I mean, people all the time will do. It's interesting because I've seen it happen. And what you're saying for finances is absolutely true across, like what you just said, hiring a lawyer and not telling them everything. So there's so much, people think things are so difficult in general when it comes to business. And I'm not saying that they're not hard. We make them harder, but we complicate things. And the thing is what you just said about, opening up your eyes and looking at the finances are the same for the people aspect, are the same for your business plan, are the same for all these different facets of your business. But yet we think that we have to recreate or grow something else in addition to be able to be brave enough to look at it, consistent, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, definitely. The flip side of it is I do have clients who they have engaged me. We're working together. We don't know each other that well yet. And they just, here, let me log into my banking app. Here's everything you need to see. Look at the money that's there. Here's another account that I have. Look, and, and I'm a little taken aback, like, wow, I guess we trust each other implicitly right away. And I'm okay with that. So
have you found a certain characteristic that they have that maybe those that are a bit more fearful, or some kind of common link with those type of individuals versus those that have a bit more hesitation?
Yes. Believe it or not, part of it is pride. Part of it is pride, right? If someone is happy with what's in their bank account, they'll be glad to show it to you. If they are not happy or they feel maybe they should be further along, there should be more money in there, they're going to try to hide it for as long as they can. So some of it's pride, some of it's ego. And usually the people who just, open up the books and everything, they truly understand that they need help and they want help. It's a matter of where people are in that journey. I guess we can call it the buyer's journey, right? Sometimes they've already bought, but they haven't really bought, if that makes sense. Yeah. I'm in, but I'm not going to tell you everything yet.
No.
Okay. Well, let me know when you're ready.
Well, Amanda, I know you got something to say, but something just dawned on me is those individuals have a habit of probably investing in things that they're not fully ready to invest themselves in. So they'll invest in the money wise, but they're not really investing in themselves, which is an interesting fact when it comes to finances that, are they willy-nilly spending money and not looking at things? Obviously, a good portion of them are. Maybe some are paying attention, but to me, that's a commonality within that, that could be a characteristic.
Oh, yes. Sometimes there is some willy-nilly spending that they don't want to be uncovered. Or maybe we're running things through the business that maybe should not be running through the business. To be clear, I am not a tax professional and I'm not an attorney.
And you're not a snitch. So
I'm not a snitch.
Stitches,
not a snitch.
Get stitches.
Right. I'm not trying to get any stitches right now.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, there's so many things when it comes to business owners, and there's so many personalities. And then sometimes there's a spouse or a life partner on the sidelines. And so that's a whole different dynamic there. sometimes the spouse or the life partner is also the business partner. And wow, that's a very different thing there. I know we all have experience with that.
Yes.
That's a fun
Or
time.
sometimes the spouse thinks that they're the partner and they're not the partner. And so they try to have this huge influence. And it's, again, it's the ego and it's the, the judgment and this constant, I know better. And it's hard when you're navigating something as tricky as money, because as Lynn said, it is one of the biggest, cash flow is one of the number one reasons why business fails. And, if you don't know what your money is doing, you don't know what you don't know. So it's a huge aspect of it. And, one thing I want to talk a little bit about, and I know you presented at our summit, and one of the things that really stuck out about your presentation at our summit, for those of you who didn't go to it, it was the Finish Strong, Start Fresh Summit we have every November. And Melissa, you spoke about the difference between revenue and profits, and how much of a difference it can make just by cutting, getting 5% of revenue versus 5% of overhead taken down. Like the difference it can make in your overall profits, like the actual money that's in your pocket, is astronomical. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because it really stuck out as one of the key points that you made during the summit.
So the thing to remember, I don't know whose catchphrase this is. If you know, I'll be glad to give them credit for it. But revenue feeds the ego, where profit feeds the family, right? So revenue is that golf course conversation. Well, Bob, we did 2.7 million this year. Well, that's great, but how much did you take home? Right? That's awesome. But, is the family having ramen or are you guys having filet? Right? What are we doing here? You can have all the revenue in the world, but if your books are messed up and you are not properly paying yourself and you're taking very little home, how many times have we, the three of us, worked with business owners who have said, "Well, I haven't been able to pay myself." Haven't we all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so if a business owner is not able to pay themselves, that's we could have an hour's worth of conversation on that. The revenue is the revenue. It's everything that we bring in, right? Total sales, all the things. Revenue is the revenue. The profit is what we take home after all the bills have been paid. And for some companies, it might be 10%. For others, again, I go back to people in the coaching and consulting space. If we don't have a lot of overhead, and I'm pretty sure the three of us don't, we're going to be in a much higher profit margin. So we get to take a lot more home. But the average business owner does not. And what a lot of people don't understand is there's a psychological piece here if you're a business owner and you are not paying yourself. So if you are running the business and putting on a great show and putting on a big smile for everybody and everything's going great, it's all sunshine and roses, and you don't take a paycheck, your brain starts to say, what are we doing this for? What are we doing this for? We don't even take home $1. What are we doing this for? So one of the things that I share with business owners, if they are not paying themselves, is I don't care if it's $20. You have to start paying yourself, because then we're going to see a different shift. The mind goes, okay, $20. It's a great place to start. And then we add to that and add to that and add to that, because if your brain is not on board with what you're trying to do, your brain's wired to protect you. And again, that's another 2-hour conversation, but your brain's wired to protect you, and your brain will protect you at all costs. So if you're a business owner listening to this and you are not paying yourself, go take $1 out of the register. I don't care. Take a quarter, but you have to pay yourself something. Yes. Did I answer that question?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you've read this book, and I'm pretty sure it's from this book, but my son, he referred it to me when he was like 16 years old, when he decided to start reading all of a sudden, the kid. Anywho, it was called Profit First, and it blew my mind what a good book it is. And actually, I was just thinking of that book the other day. I need to reread it, because a lot of what you just said is exactly like the fundamentals of that book, of like paying yourself first and making sure you're taking a paycheck, the mindset around that, what it creates, and all of that stuff. I love that.
Yeah, Profit First is they have like a whole program, I think, that business
Yeah,
owners,
Michael Collins, he has a great program. Yeah.
yeah, there's a whole thing surrounding that. So, I mean, look, I think we all know we are definitely at a point in our world history where we can get the answer to anything at any time. And for those folks that are tuning in and business owners that are tuning in, maybe hiring a coach or a consultant might be a really big deal. You can get a lot of the answers that you're looking for to get you started and going in the right direction. And maybe when you've seen a little bit of growth, maybe then you hire somebody. But there's a lot of help for business owners if you're struggling. And even if you're successful and you just want to go to the next level, there's always help. There's always a person, there's always a program, there's always somebody who can help you. And my hope is that they all have your best interest in mind.
Well, that's the thing I was going to say. And that comes from our old school world, is that there are so many coaches and consultants out there. And you were saying it earlier, I don't remember if it was on our podcast or off of our podcast, but how we have a lot of similarities. And obviously we're from the same world and we have a lot of similarities, but yet all three of us would attack it very differently and have our own strengths, right? That's why I love being in partnership with Amanda, is because, I mean, we have a lot of commonality, but we also have a lot that's not, that we're able to be really well-rounded. And I think that that's really important, because Amanda's more the numbers person. I actually had somebody come to me early on and was like, I need somebody who can help me with my books. I'm like, I'm not your person. I can tell you what they are. I can tell you how to make more money, but it's not something that I love. It's not something that I wouldn't say I'm not good at it. I am, but not something that's in my wheelhouse. So I passed them over to Amanda and they killed it. Like, of course they are going to with her. And so I think that you nailed it on the head, is that not only do you need to find the right person, so they need to be the right fit for you, but also you should be the right fit for them. Because even though I could have helped it, and I love this person, actually, she's a friend, there was too much personal stuff between us too, as well, to be able to do that where she wouldn't feel as comfortable. And so I'm glad that you brought that up. I think, especially in today's world where coaches and consultants are like real estate agents, everybody's one and not making any fucking money. Excuse my language. The majority aren't, right? Everybody's real estate agent, but nobody's selling a damn house. Like, why do you have a real estate license? Like, get your head out of your ass. It's the same thing with coaches and consultants nowadays. I mean, there are some of us, three of us on this call right now, who've had great success, but we've put in the work. We're not out doing 3-10 other jobs, whatever, like these real estate agents. Anywho, I know I went down a rabbit hole, but
as I often say, you can't swing a dead cat in this town without hitting a real estate agent.
For real. I think in any town.
In any town.
That's a very Scottish saying.
Oh, is it? I don't know where it came from. I had no idea. So thank you.
Well, the first time I went to Scotland, they said you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a castle around here. And I was like,
oh.
So it just took me back.
Yeah, I can't think of a set of circumstances where I would be swinging a dead cat, but it's a fun saying.
I don't know. So, I could get to that point where I'm just swinging dead cats left and right. You never know. What's 2026 going to look like? I don't know.
Yep, it's the year of the dead cat. But I would say, I would say that as it relates to all the coaches and consultants that are out there, one thing that I started doing, I guess about a year and a half ago, is if somebody calls me in, I want to talk to you about maybe hiring you. All right, let's have a conversation. And so we sit down and we have that conversation. And at the end of the conversation, I say it now every time. If I'm not the right fit for you, I will help you find somebody who is.
We do the same.
Love it. Yes.
We do the same. But that also goes to, and Amanda likes to talk about this a lot, I know we do too, is about collaboration over competition. And we understand the bigger picture, and we understand that we're not everybody's cup of tea and vice versa. And that we've also built all three of us belonged to another organization. That's how I met Amanda. I'm pretty sure I met you through the one, but we can say BNI because we're not mad at BNI, but not that we're mad at the other one, but we just don't want to give them credit for shit. But we understand this, like the giver's gain and that kind of mentality. And obviously, we really understand this because all three of us have held higher level positions in BNI within our regions and some sort of leadership, etc. I think that's really important. And I would say, for those of you watching that are thinking about hiring a coach or consultant that's not one of us, and you're interviewing with them and they don't ask you or tell you the same thing, then they're probably not the right fit for you. Like they just are taken. Take it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I can say confidently about all three of us. We want businesses to win. We
Yes.
want them to win. We want them to grow. We want them to survive and thrive. And I don't know about you guys, but I see way too many posts on social media. Oh, we're closing at the end of the year, closing at the end of the month. It's been a great 20 years. And you scratch your head and go, it's been a great 20. What happened? Why can't we have another 20 years?
It's shocking this year. I don't know what it is about this year. Maybe I'm just more attuned to it, but I've noticed so many posts of here's our final closing sale. This is happening. I mean, I reached out to a couple different companies and it makes me want to call them up and be like, what happened? Because particularly for the ones who've been around for 20, 30 years, it's like, are you just retiring and you couldn't sell it? Like what happened? Because we all know the statistic that most businesses fail within the first 5 years. But a good coach or a good consultant can absolutely change that number. And that's, I think, one of the reasons why I do it. I never want to hear someone say that they have to close their business. I mean, I would rather it be like, I get to close my business because I'm selling it and I'm moving to something better. I mean, that's a much better scenario. But it's been shocking this year to see how many businesses are closing.
Yes. Yes.
I do want to bring it back to because the whole selling of a business, I mean, one, it could be a generational thing, right? So I know me living in Southeast Asia, it's huge to have the generational businesses, more so, I think, than in the US. Not that they don't happen, but it is a lot more common here. But I will say this with most companies, and this goes back to even talking originally what Melissa was talking about is most companies, Amanda, and we know this, we coach around it, they do not build the fundamentals and foundations to actually eventually sell. And that goes back to understanding your numbers. I remember selling one of my first businesses and like having to get down and dirty and understanding like the multiplication of like how to figure out how much my business valuation is it. And even though we got third-party valuations, not for one when we didn't have to, but neither here nor there, you have to know your numbers. You have to understand where they're coming from. You have to understand where they're going to. You have to understand all aspects. And if people aren't building a business, the P&L and the numbers part is very, very much essential of building a business that you can sell. Period. Not just sustain you, but to sell.
Oh, and you made me think of something else with all of that is, yes, you have to have that knowledge, but you also have to have your processes and your systems in place.
Yes.
And when I hear things like, well, whenever Sally's ready to retire, we're really in trouble because we don't really understand anything that she does. What?
Crazy. Yes.
It happens all the time.
It does. And people do not buy the business. They buy the processes. Look at McDonald's. They're not buying how to make a damn cheeseburger. Yes, maybe there's a special recipe, but they don't get the recipe because it comes pre-made to them. So they're buying the fundamentals, the process, the foundations of it. And yes, there is the branding when it comes to something big like that, but people buy the processes.
And I always say, if you guys all decide that you're going to throw in the towel and everybody's moving to Fiji, you better leave the processes in place so that whoever comes in and dusts off the box can open up the box of processes and SOPs and all of those things and pick it up and start running the business.
Mm-hmm.
It should be that foolproof.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
That's one of the big things that I like to work on as well. You have to set it up as if someone could walk in at any time and take over. And if you decide I'm all done here. I don't want to be a business owner anymore. It's time to retire, or, I'm going to go climb in the Himalayan mountains. It doesn't matter, whatever you choose to do, but you've got to set it up so that you get the highest valuation possible if you're going to sell.
Absolutely. One thing talking about that idea of people stepping in, one thing I find curious about it is that a lot of it is ego, that there's this, no one can do it better than me, so I'm not going to even bother to write down the processes because there's an ego behind, I don't want anybody to be better than me. I don't want to, I spoke with a client of mine a couple months ago about this whole idea of like, I don't want to be getting rid of my own position by creating systems that are going to outrun me. And I'm like, yes, you do. You want to have a system that replaces you as the CEO so that you can focus on bigger things, so you can focus on the next level of your business and let your systems run the stuff. Like it's not getting rid of your own job. It's creating a better job for yourself that has more freedom and isn't you tied to your desk. But there was a lot of ego we had to go through there because it was this identity tied to that role within the business. And if I'm not that role, then I'm obsolete. I'm like, it's not the same thing. Having a system doesn't make you as a business owner obsolete. It just changes how you do business.
Control.
Yes. I'm working with a client right now where there's going to be a change in leadership and ownership. So the father's getting ready to retire and the son is going to take over. And I don't mind telling you, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. So titles have been handed out, but nobody really knows what the title means. The dad is ready to go, but yet he's not ready to go. And so there's a lot of that going on. And then a couple people have quit in the last year or so. And then I just had to have this conversation. A couple people quit, I was told. So then we went through and gave everybody a raise. So people quit and then you gave everybody a raise.
No.
Because we wanted to let them know that we really love them. And I said, I'm going to stop you right there. You gave them a raise because you were fearful that they were also going to quit.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Well, that's not necessarily true, Melissa. Okay. You don't have to admit it to me. You can just admit it to yourself. Okay. But I think we all know what was happening here. And then I asked, by the way, it's a new client. By the way, when you're giving out raises, do those come with evaluations? Oh, no, we don't do that. Okay.
It's painful.
It is painful. It is painful. And I said, okay, I love you guys already. I love you. But I'm just telling you, do not give out another raise without an evaluation. I will be glad to help you with that. Yeah. But we can't be throwing money around willy-nilly without, one, letting people know the opportunities they have to do better, and also letting them know the things that they're really doing great on.
Absolutely.
We're not, yeah.
That's
it's crazy.
You can't take the money back. You can't be like, last week you got a raise and this week you're actually getting a pay cut.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, how's that for morale?
Idiot.
Right.
And that goes back to the processes. I actually had a couple of clients that were like that, Melissa, and finally got them under control. The wife would be like, please, you gave another raise again, like just for random. And his was slightly different, not in that same way, but the business owner doesn't realize the shift in power dynamics when they did that. Because essentially the power dynamics went to the employees. And listen, we're not saying shit on your employees. That is not what we're saying, but there needs some structure, because otherwise it will make the business crumble even quicker. There needs to be a clear leader. And I know we all come from the old school and different, the old school way of leadership as well, but it's facts. Like, there needs to be a clear leader, and that shifted the dynamics, and that's just kind of insane. But they have you to help them come back from that. And as long as everything else, baby steps back into place, you can redirect the ship, people. You can redirect the ship. It's just not quick left turn. Yeah.
Yeah. They're a newer client, and I really do. I like them so much already. There's so much good there. We just need to get kind of scrappy and get through all the little things. I wouldn't even say that they're bad. They're just not as good as they could be. Let's put it that way. They're really a great, great client. So I'm looking forward to working with them and sort of hammering all this out. And I'm excited. It's a second generation business. That's pretty cool. Lynn, as you shared, it's pretty common where you are. It's not always common here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it is cool. And you know what? Usually, so Amanda already said usually within the first 5 years of business, but usually the second or third generation, they lose the business as well. It's becoming more and more common now, even in this region, in the Asian region of the world, Southeast Asia, because just people are so different compared to how, and the level of access that we have, and like everything, like it's just so different compared to how it used to be. And so there's a lot of outside factors, but you can withstand it. You can pivot. I know some businesses are becoming obsolete. I mean, that's nothing new. Businesses became obsolete way back in the day as well. They're just becoming more obsolete or faster, I would say, this time of lifespan. But yeah, hopefully they listen to you and do what they need to do in order to make it the second generation.
They will. I feel good about it.
Like it. All right. Well, we've been
Yes.
chatting with you for a while. Are there any other nuggets? I mean, our podcast being the pursuit of badassery, obviously, we feel like finding the right coach, understanding your P&Ls, having your systems and your processes in place. All of those are good points. But anything else that you want to leave our audience with?
We have not talked about the idea of control and being that sort of control freak. Should we say
really.
Control freak? I don't know. I don't know if we say
We're
that
not
anymore.
politically correct on this podcast.
Okay, so I share this all the time because I think as a general rule, business owners like to control everything. They like to control every little thing in the business, even if it's insignificant. They want to have control over it. And it's not mine. Again, I don't know whose it is, but it's operating from a closed fist, right? So if the business is here in the palm of your hand, now you've got the business under your control, right? Nothing is happening without you knowing about it. But here's the challenge with the business being under that much control. Nothing's getting out, but nothing is getting in either, right? And sometimes people like us bring a lot of great value. Sometimes your employees bring a lot of great value. Sometimes your customers bring a lot of great value. If you're constantly with a closed fist and you're not letting anything in, you're not going to get the advantages of all those great ideas and great value that people can bring you. And I'm not saying you have to immediately go from this to this, but you could, open up your hand a little bit, let some things in, and realize that having such tight control is not always the best idea. There's a lot of people who can offer you a lot of help and a lot of value, even when you're not looking for it. And if we're not prepared to let those things in, we might miss out.
100%.
I like that. I don't know if I've ever heard that.
No thoughts?
No fisting.
Whose is it with the closed?
No idea.
On a phone call with a client a couple of days ago, and it feels like that because it was, we had to have that come to Jesus moment where it's like, do you care about the results or do you care about the exact way that they do the thing that you're looking for? Like, which one do you care about? Like, really, you have to let go of the control of nitpicking the exact, this is the order that they have to turn the lights off. And or I'm like, no, they don't have to. It's a checklist. It doesn't have to be done in the exact order that you say, as long as the thing.
Yep.
So, those moments of control, of like intense control, and it's, hard to let go of. I absolutely, as a control freak, will admit it is hard to let go, but man, does it make a difference when you do.
Big difference.
When
Lynn's probably checking, she's like, Betty, you haven't let go of control a day in your life.
When you allow space for breath, growth can happen, period. When we're suffocating ourselves, the business, our employees, like they can only grow so much. So, and it's kind of wild, and I know we need to wrap up, is that I know people that even that are suffocating everything, they're having growth. And they're like, yeah, but we're having growth, because you can still have growth, but it's, you can have exponential growth. You can have even better business. You can have more impact, whatever that is. So yeah, loosen up and no more fisting. For those of you who
Yes.
know.
True words are never spoken, Lynn.
There we go. All right. This has been great having you on the
Love
podcast.
it.
Finally, we're so happy to have you on.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
So where can our guests find more of you?
So you can find me on Instagram, Melissa Willis Coaching, and my website is also melissawilliscoaching.com. And there are lots of free resources on my website that people can sign up for. And if you want to chat with me, I'm pretty easy to find. And I like to think pretty easy to chat with. So
I think so.
thank you.
We're not partial at all.
No.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. And all that will
Yep.
be in the show notes, everybody. So, and if you were inspired by this podcast, please go ahead and give us a subscribe, a like, and a comment below. Let us know what you took away from this podcast.
And reach out to Melissa. If you have questions about your business, if you are struggling with the financial side, Melissa is an excellent resource for that. And we absolutely promote her as an incredible coach and consultant. So reach out for Melissa if you have questions about growing your business too, or us, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
All three of us can help. Yes. Love it.
That's right. All right, everybody. We can't wait to hear your comments, see your comments, and go ahead and DM us if you have any other topics that you want us to cover, or if you know someone who you think should be interviewed on our podcast, go ahead and tag them. We'd be happy to reach out. But until next time,
get after it.
Thanks for tuning in. But remember, listening is not doing.
Take what you heard today and move.
Share the episode, leave us a review, and tag us when you take action.
Head over to thepursuitofbadassery.com and see how we're helping entrepreneurs get results without the fluff.
Until next time,
Let's get after it.